Hello again, we're back on site. So this is a property that the tenants moved out of, and then they asked me to come and sort out bathroom, kitchen, take a fireplace out. It got redecorated, new carpets, so it's looking good now. It was a bit of a mess. Right, I've been asked to sort the doors out because new carpet, doors wouldn't close. This is what you get with old properties. So yes, it's just old. And I've also noticed the latch is the wrong way around. Now this door must be 100 years old. I'm sure it wouldn't have had the latch the wrong way around for 100 years. It does look like someone's had this out. I don't understand why. And this is another one with the latch the wrong way around. It doesn't, because it's dropped so much, it doesn't work anymore anyway. So I've planed a bit off the bottom. It's always a bit of a compromise because, you know, we're just missing there. Then you close it, you've got quite a gap. Yeah. Oh, it's just old. Why do painters paint over all the keeps and hinges? Just makes it look like a right mess. They're all slotted screws before, so I've replaced them with posi drives. Painter's coming back to touch up because there's a few marks on the walls, so I'm sure he'll touch this up. Right, so I'm going to take this off. I'll have a look and see if any other doors have got the handles on the wrong way around. Right, there's no other handles on the wrong way around, so what I'll do is I'll take it out. We're upstairs now, in a different room. Just showing you, since the carpet's gone in, that's really hard to close. Right, so we've got no gap at the bottom. We've got a bit of a gap at the top. We can either lift it up on the hinges, but it's not really enough. There's quite a bit to come off there. So I might just take off 5mm. Keep it so handle off. I'm using it like that. So if you take 5mm off, at least it'll look uniform there. All the rest, they're slightly rubbing, but anyway. It is new carpet and that will settle a bit. Yeah, this is a bathroom. It got thermal boarded, new bath, shower screen. It's got hot water cylinder. Just basics really, and the sink used to be over there. So I presume I'll just put a, looking at the state of that light, I presume I'll just put like a table in there or something. This was, all the pipes were, oh my god, what a mess. This is just freshly painted. This is what happens on site. Oh, look at the seats being knocked over. Right, yeah, that's a thermal board on the walls. That was a mess, that room. And in here, what's going on with that? So I fitted these to match the rest, and someone's put, oh dear. Anyway, that was a sink, so we just made it into like a cupboard area to match in with the rest. Yeah, we're just at the end of this job, so it's just doing a little bits and pieces. Always do downstairs. It's a shoes off job. Where the carpet's down. Yeah, this is a bit awkward, this kitchen, because you've got a doorway larder access and another doorway there. So you're a bit restricted as to where you can put the units. So there's not a lot of it. The walls were thermal boarded, and all I've got to do is put the plinths down now that everything's been finished, and put the top of the extractor hood on, and I can take the covers, the protective covers off now that the painter's finished doing his stuff. Right, I've got the lock out the door. Someone's obviously had a good go at it before because this screw holds it all together. So I've got to try and get that out, get the plate off and see if I can turn that over. We'll open it up and have a look. Alright, that's a pin that just goes into the casing. So this has been swapped over now, I've turned it over. This came out, you take the spring out and then flip this over, and this has to go behind it then. It's sort of self-explanatory as you're doing it. Right, put it all back together again. Right, that's it back in again. Now, if I put I don't know if you can see that, that's not parallel at all to the side of the door. It looks a bit awful, but if I was to put it parallel, then the painter's not going to be happy. It's all a bit of a compromise, isn't it? So I'll have to put it back where it came from. Yeah, it's a bit of wear, that. I replaced the slots with posies because the paint's going to paint over them anyway, and it just gives the next bloke a bit more chance of getting out in the future. Right, let's get that plate on. Right, this is the next door that's not shutting. Thicker door. This was the exterior door. This has been put on afterwards. I presume this was an external toilet. Right. Yeah, sorry, so I presume that was an exterior toilet and they've just enclosed it and make it part of the house. Right. If you open and close it a couple of times, you can see marks where it's catching. A couple of bits there. So an external keep, what I might do is undo the screws, move it over that way slightly, and then try it again and see. There, you can see daylight, a bit tight at the top. I know this is going to look weird on the telly because it doesn't move, but you can't really see what I can see without the camera being an angle. So I'll do that, I'll move that over. You can see where the tenons are sticking out. They're proud of the face of the door. That's because they wear down less as end grain. It's going to be tougher, like the edge of a butcher's block. Right, so I'll move that over and see what happens there. Right, I've taken the keep off. This timber is amazingly solid. To say that is probably 100 years old, that is tougher than new stuff that you'd put in. If you were replacing that, you'd be putting softer stuff in it. Just planing the doors, you can smell it. It smells lovely. Right, so it's still not shutting. So it was touching there, but I don't know if you can see, the gap gets a bit small at the top. Seems all right everywhere else. So what I'm going to do is give it a quick plane, the tenons, with my hand plane, because I'm not an animal and I'm not going to put an electric plane inside someone's house. It's just been decorated. So that will make a little bit of mess, which I'll just sweep up with a dustpan and brush. For all the plumbers and the electricians out there, that is a dustpan and brush. They're quite handy things, worth investing in. Right, let's get that plane down a bit. Right, it's all working as it should do now. What I had to do was plane down where the tenons come through, and that's sort of giving it enough room for it not to touch the frame. And this keep, I've had to chisel out a bit on there's a bit of quadrant runs down the wall, and then put a couple of spacers, a couple of packers in there, just to keep it away from the wall. Push it out a bit more because it was, I think it's because of the amount of paint on it. It was just not quite catching. What you've got to remember as well is when you take anything off a door, just take a little bit extra off, because the painter's going to put more paint on that. So it's pointless doing it just enough, because it's not going to shut again once he puts his paint on it. You can imagine that's every, I don't know how often it gets painted, but it's more and more paint goes on it, and that's what caused a lot of the problems. These hinges are worn. It benefit from new hinges, but where do you stop? They just asked me to get the doors working. So the time now, past. So that's 15 minutes to get that done. Plane down bits on the door, move the keep, push it out. Yeah, next one. Right, this was the wall, it had a fireplace in it. So lifted the fireplace out, filled the hole, made some skirtings matching with the rest, and I've just got to put a vent at the bottom, help it breathe, otherwise they sweat and you start getting damp problems and all sorts. The door in here is just catching a tiny little bit, so I could plane a fraction off that. We've got a bit of a gap here. Look at the top. That's awful. Right, so what I might do is take the hinge off and sink it into the frame a bit more, because it's such a small bit that needs to go over, and that way, that's not very parallel, that handle as well. That, if I plane this down, it's going to be a nightmare for the painter to make good, so I'll just take that out and move it over slightly. Right, under stair door, that's the same thing, it's dropped. Right, let's tighten the bottom, really tight. There's quite a bit off that. We haven't got much of a gap, we haven't got any gap in the middle. So I can't move it over, I'm going to have to plane the edge down, which means I'll have to take this roller catch out, plane probably 3mm off it, and I'm going to mark the bottom and cut that down as well. Right, taking a bit off the edge, we've given it a leading edge, so you take more, you plane more off this edge than you do off this edge, so it puts a slight angle on it. We've got plenty of gap there now for the painter to put his paint on. Now we're getting a lot of, the hinges are binding, which is the hinges pushing together, because the hinges haven't been sunk in, they're just sitting surface on there. So what I'm going to do is mark it and chisel out this edge of the hinge. So this edge will be where it is at the moment. We don't want the door moving, but we want the hinge to be out of the way. So I'm going to sink the back end of the hinges in. Right, I've done the hinges, I've pushed them over slightly. By sinking them in, flushing the backs of them to stop them from binding. So that's fine now. So then we had a problem. This is the keep for the ball catch. That was hitting the door, so the door wouldn't shut. So I had to sink that in, that was just the surface. Now I've got to put the ball catch in and see if that still works. Right, that's it all done. Yeah, the paint's gonna have to give it a bit of love. That's fine now. I don't know where the handle is. I think the paint has taken them all off. Right, that's it for the doors. Now I've got a hook, a vent to go on the shroud to go on the cooker hood. I can take the blue off and fit the plinths. Well, that's that done. That's the plinths on, and that one's left with a gap so that the water pipes from the dishwasher or washing machine or whatever they have there can go through and connect up under the sink. It's all ready for it there. All the covers been taken off the units. Yeah, kitchen done. The painter's been back. Just put a bit on there, you need a little bit more. the edge of the door. So they're all working now. And my last job, this was an afterthought, but they asked me if I could come back and do that. I've got to stick the house name up. So I'll go outside and do that. But yeah, I think that's enough for this video. It's it's just showing you a bit of what I do during the week. This has been finishing off, just doing bits and pieces, not been getting too involved with it. I have done a lot of work here. It has been going for quite a while, but you know, just sort of caught the tail end of it. Right, see you next time.